Hello everyone, my name is Crystal and I am the mother of two beautiful teens. Um, I currently stay at home. I'm a stay-at-home mom and a homeschooling mom, and that wasn't always the case. I worked for a school district for over 11 years, but I did not work as a teacher. So the homeschooling and the teaching aspect of things was very new to me. In 2018, when the pandemic hit, I also wound up getting laid off at that time. So I decided, you know what, let's give it a shot. Let's try homeschooling. At the time, my kids were 7th grade and 9th grade. So I was, I think, more worried because they were older. I was worried about, will I teach them enough for college? Will I teach them enough, high school curricula, middle school curriculum? And was I capable of doing that? So I kind of wish I knew now. I kind of wish I knew then what I know now. um, I know like a lot of us new homeschoolers have a lot of anxieties or a lot of worries around, um, like finding curriculum. What subjects are you going to teach? What schedule are you going to have? Things like that. And they're very valid. But this year, I just feel like coming into my second year and kind of revamping things and kind of changing things up a little bit, those stresses and those anxieties are way less. It went from like here to like here. So let's get to it. The first thing is you don't need to duplicate private or public homeschool at home. Okay, it's just not going to happen. I mean, it can happen, but most likely it's not going to happen. So that thought process, just get it out. It's okay. Woos it out if you have to. But just know that we are not, most of us are not trained teachers, right? And so trying to replicate like a whole classroom setting and a whole like school experience for our kids, it's just, we're not capable of doing that as untrained teachers. And so I don't want us to get stressed out trying to do so. The second thing, I know my first year, I tried doing 6 classes a day. Yes, 6 a day. We got started at 9 a.m. We ended at 3 p.m. We did homework. It just became a full-time job. And so this year I vowed to not do things the same way. I wanted to do things differently. I wanted my kids to be less stressed, and then I wanted to make sure I was less stressed. And so the second thing is you don't need to buy a curriculum. A lot of groups that I'm involved in, I see a lot of moms in particular asking like, oh, what curriculum? And I want to just tell them like, don't stress yourself out with finding a curriculum right away. Curriculums are amazing, right? They are. They're amazing tools, especially if you don't have any kind of like educational experience. But I feel like sometimes A, they're expensive. They can be. And then B, I've heard a lot of complaints around like, I don't know how to do this on the curriculum. Like, what do I do next? And I'm just like, just do what you can. The rest you can totally like Google it or look at, videos on how to do things, hire a tutor or whatnot. So I just want to let you guys know, like, you don't need to buy a curriculum. I started making my own curriculum at first, and using like Google Classroom so that my kids could access the materials. And even that was pretty stressful. That was pretty stressful. And so we wound up using Khan Academy towards the end of the school year. And learning Khan Academy is free, first of all. So, and it's amazing. I have nothing against Khan Academy as far as like the quality of things. I think like looking at it from a teacher's point of view, I had to like relearn the system and learn kind of how to put my kids in the class, like enroll them in my class and set up a class. And and also like read their scores and whatnot. I still don't know 100%. But it like alleviated a lot of the stress that I had, especially around science, math, subjects that I kind of struggle with. I didn't want to give them the wrong information. We would do Khan Academy together sometimes. It just became a little overwhelming for me because I would have the 7th grade one and then the 9th grade one. So I would try to kind of meet them in the middle as much as I can. Like with English, my daughter would just do the 9th grade English with my son. And math was where they would math and science they would do separately. History, we would kind of do it together. So another thing that you can do is just Google printouts, Google worksheets and print them out and have your kids do it that way. A lot of them actually has answer sheets. So if you're like, well, I don't know the answer to this math problem, so I want to make sure that they do it right, you can print out the answer sheets and then kind of like reverse learn it. It's kind of what I did. And then think about things that you've learned in or out of school that you found interesting. What are some things that you liked learning about or that excited you? And start there. Teach your kids those subjects. Like say if you really enjoyed cooking, then do a cooking class. If you really enjoyed learning about birds, then teach your kids about birds. I just want you to know that it's okay to do your own curriculum. Build your own curriculum. You'll be okay. I promise. Like, I know for us it just works because we were able to add things that interest my kids. Like my son does guitar lessons. I count that as a class. My daughter does sewing. She wants to be a fashion designer. We count that as a class. It's some math and sewing, right? So, and then guitar is music. So you can find learning opportunities everywhere. We also incorporate cooking because my son wants to be a chef. So I was like, hey, let's do cooking. My daughter, since she wants to be a fashion designer, I'm like, hey, entrepreneurship, right? So you can get creative with this. Don't be afraid to get creative with it. And then if your kids are old enough, ask them what they would like to learn. Number 3, you don't have to follow a normal school schedule. This one was hard for me because coming from an educational point of view, getting away from that, 9 months learning, Monday through Friday, 6-hour days of learning was very, very hard for me to do. For some reason, I had some anxieties around my kids aren't going to learn anything if I do learning for 3 hours a day. They just won't. Guess what? Yes, they do. Burnout is a real thing, and you do not want to burn yourself or your kids out. Remember, learning can take place any day and any time. So say if you're on the weekend and you guys go for a hike, you can count that as PE. You can learn, about, like if you see a butterfly, you can say, oh, let's take a picture of this butterfly and then Google it later and learn about it and write a little paper about it or whatever you want to do. I know that on the weekend sometimes we'll go to like the zoo or go to like a cave or something like that, and we find learning experiences that way. Then we come back home and we have share outs and we talk about it, and then we discuss if we want to learn further about it, and then we can just do like a little research paper or whatnot on it. And so I just want to reiterate that anything that you do first, like your first year of anything, is always the hardest. But sometimes we make things overly complicated, and this doesn't have to be overly complicated. Homeschooling is fun. Homeschooling is not always easy, but it's okay to get away from the norm. It's okay to take mental health breaks, because last week we had to take one. We're like, nope, no learning last Friday. It's okay to incorporate things that you love and you want your kids to learn. It's okay for your kids to sleep in a little bit. I mean, it happens. Um, of course, these things may apply to like older kids. So I'll try to do a video around like younger kids because I also have preschooling experience. But I hope you guys learn anything. Leave some comments below if you agree, disagree, if you have some things that you want me to talk about in the future. Okay, well, until next time, guys. See you later. Bye.